Hey everybody, I'm Mike Palmer, the Eldersburg Campus Pastor. By now, most if not all of you know, we began worshiping here at our Randallstown location back on Valentine's Day. And I just wanted to share with you that our moving from the fire hall in Sykesville to where we are now was more than just that. It was more than just a move. This was an opportunity for us to, watch God and listen to God and learn from God as He revealed Himself over and over again at so many different points along our journey. And so I want to take a minute and just give you a glimpse of our journey by sharing the story with you about how we got from where we were to where we are. Well, for 3 years I've been the Eldersburg Campus Pastor, and since taking on this responsibility, I have always searched for a permanent location for us to worship along with others at our campus and those throughout Crossroads who have been very helpful in our search. For me, it's a very simple process of looking online for places and driving around the community. And I spend a lot of Sundays, after church, going to locations that I found online during the week and just praying. Primarily, that was it, just to pray. If there was an opportunity to talk to somebody on site, then I do that, but mostly just, to pray and to listen, for God and just wait for His guidance. And that's what I was doing in mid-December, before Christmas, when I was online and I saw a place on Liberty Road, plenty of space, but it was in Randallstown. That's what I noticed. So I didn't give it much thought, but I only looked further because it was a place where the florist that I use used to be. And I just didn't know, I never knew their place was that big. That was the only reason I kept looking. Well then, as I looked more, I thought, man, I'll go over and take a look at the place. And I did my normal routine. I just went over and prayed, and I just left it at that. Well, fast forward 2 weeks, Reed and I are having our one-on-one monthly meeting, and it's a Zoom meeting, and I share a little bit about it with him. And, he says, wait a minute, are you talking about Raymundi Flores? And I said, yeah, well, how'd you know? He said, well, I got, an email last night, and he lifts up his phone from our real estate broker, and it was about going and looking at the same location. Even though it was a little out of the way, he thought it'd just be a good idea to take a look at it. And so we're thinking, wow, okay, God, you revealed this to both of us at separate times and in separate ways. We at least need to take a look. And that's what we did. The next day, we went to take a look. Well, as part of taking a look, trying to be smart and get ahead of the game a little bit, I reached out to a pastor in the building behind the one we were going to look at. It's in an office park, because I just wanted to get some numbers. What do you pay for, rent and utilities? And the pastor, Kevin, yes, another Kevin, he laid it out there. He gave us all the information we asked for and more. And then here is where God shows up again. Kevin says, well, our lease ends at the end of June, and we're going to be leaving. We're not renewing the lease because we're looking for a larger, more permanent space. But since we're not meeting, if God, leads you to do this, we can leave and let you sublease the location for the 4 or 5 months, if it'll help. And we were like, wow, okay, here he is again, showing up along the journey, because who'd have thought we'd have went to look at one place and end up looking at another place, much smaller, of course, where the pastor who was meeting us for the first time would offer us this opportunity. And so we kept moving. We had the staff come in, they loved it, felt the move of God. We had a deacons and elders meeting in Eldersburg, and it was a good meeting. And here's where God moved again. Of course, Butch, if you know Butch, he threw scripture out there. Acts 1:8, we need to be God's witnesses in Jerusalem, Judea, and Samaria, wherever He sends us. And then Bill Drews says something that I think is always going to stick with me. He says, in typical Bill Drews fashion, well, why wouldn't we cast the net on the other side of the boat if that's what the Lord is telling us to do? And I thought, wow. So there was just a godly moment in there where we didn't all know what to expect, but we knew what God wanted us to do, and we just kept taking one step after another. The other thing that became very obvious to everybody was that this wasn't just about us. It wasn't about the Eldersburg campus. This was about Crossroads. And, we had to rely on and pray with and for the board in several meetings. And then there was the budget team, so many things that had to be considered. And so we were blessed to, have conversations with Mike Castle and Mark Snyder. And then, on operations side, Wendy and Susan were extremely helpful, along with Paul. So just so many people in so many different places involved in this with us. And so we're very appreciative that this was a Crossroads team effort and not just an Eldersburg team effort. Well, here we are. And I just want to end with these two things that are very important to us. And I guess there are three things. Number one, I mentioned the pastor, Kevin. And not only did he open his doors to us in his space, and here we are, but he's also invited us to serve with him in his church on the first Saturday of every month, where they give out 250 boxes of food at the Randallstown Library parking lot as a drive-through location. And so we've assisted with that twice already. We did it in small numbers to see if it worked with his church as he requested. And so now we're opening it up to everybody. So there's an opportunity for us to serve right away. That is really exciting. Why reinvent the wheel? And his response when I asked if we could serve with them initially, he says, "Mike, this is kingdom work." And that's when I knew it was confirmed that we were partnering with the right church. Secondly, there was some excitement. There's always excitement when we're moving into a new community. And a lot of us were talking about, what we were going to do for the community, because we're really good at, leading people to life-changing faith in Jesus Christ. We love serving. And it was more about what we could do for Randallstown. And so I just encouraged our campus to consider what Randallstown can do for us, because it's not just about what we can do for this community, but this community can really teach us how to get better at what we already do, because we'll be serving a community that looks nothing like the community we're accustomed to serving in. And so I just ask everybody to be open to those opportunities to grow individually and as a campus and as a church. And then lastly, and I say this with humility, and I shared this, and this is just what God, shared with me in my prayers, that we must be doing something right as a campus for God to trust us with the responsibility to reach into these two very, very different, communities where we have an opportunity to just get better, like I said before, at what we already do, and that is leading people to life-changing faith in Jesus Christ. And so I am excited, first, that we did this as a church and not just as a campus. I'm excited about the opportunity we have to partner with Transformation of Life Church and Kevin Hooks. And then I am excited that God is trusting us and just letting us know we must be doing something right. We have a great team, and I'm excited to be a part of it, both on the campus level and at the church level.